Lakers. As we say hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by Mercury Insurance. Allie Clifton alongside Danny Green, the Hall of Famer, big game, James Worthy. What an exciting one over the weekend for the Lakers. We'll keep the Tar Heels to the side.
Yeah. You know, they still have a chance to win an intramural softball championship.
The women,
right?
Are the women still
That's
rocking?
Right. We got the women Tar Heels still.
Are they?
Well, they were rocking last time I saw.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think
they're
pretty solid.
Let them save the day for you guys.
Yeah.
Just like Luke Kennard saved the day for the Lakers on Saturday. It was an interesting game leading up to that point. But as you just heard John Ireland say, they've won 9 straight. They're 4-0 in this current 6-game road trip. They've won 12 of their last 13. You saw DeAndre Ayton's missed free throw here on the second one. Felt a lot like the weekend prior versus the Denver Nuggets. We had the Skyhawk cam come back into play here down the stretch, which this one ended up being Laker basketball. And then look, at the end of the day, the Lakers had 2 tries to get the job done. LeBron has been a part of 2 of these now in his career, which he learned just for the first time that vantage point even existed last season in the postseason. But he had 2 tries to get the job done. That I learned. I said that Paolo got the block, and D-Fish and Rob said, no, Allie, you don't do that. You say that they missed the foul call. And then this seals it, the game. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
I mean, you think it's the right way, right?
I was traveling. I didn't really get to see the whole game, so
I didn't. There was a lot going on, but I got a chance to catch up after. Series of plays down the stretch went their way, and that's what happens when you play, good basketball, play hard. The basketball guys will reward you. So, obviously some of those calls kind of went differently, but they've been playing well all season long. They've been building good habits, defensively, looking more like together, and this one, they're one of the best teams in the league. Clutch time, minutes. And they continue to get better. And each night, I feel like it's a different person. Early in the year, we see Rui knock down a shot. With his Bron, Austin, game winner. And you got Luka Dončić coming in. Even though he's a Duke guy, but he's making some big plays for them.
Does that pain you guys?
Nah,
not too much. Not too much.
A little bit.
Not too much.
A little bit.
Only because Duke is still in the tournament right now. But
we've had enough Tar Heels through here.
Yes,
Danny, Rick Fox, myself. We've had a few.
Yeah.
The ending of that game, like. A question. They didn't have a challenge on that call?
They did not.
Okay,
the
so obviously they didn't
used,
have a challenge. So, yeah, I mean, look, I can recall LeBron getting obviously like smacked on the arm when they were playing the Boston Celtics one time. That happens. Unfortunately, it happens in this game. They don't get them all, and sometimes it favors you. So in this case, they were able to take advantage of it, and that last play was just a good execution. Luke Kennard setting those picks early, and then LeBron making that dive. But the key was having an experienced veteran taking the ball out of bounds who was poised and looking at all the options, and saw Luke at the last moment. But yeah, win's a win. You got to move on.
If you're J.J. Redick, you're very happy because both those ATOs were executed perfectly down the stretch, and that makes coaches very happy. We typically save our breakdowns for later in the show, but this one, it was too good to waste. So it's time for a little Access 360 green screen.
Yeah,
brought to you by the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Danny, break it down.
For those who missed it, we're going to break down the end of the game. A couple of these plays, of course, Luka, Austin Reeves making big plays down the stretch. Luka got the defensive guy on his hip, sees everybody drawing, get back out. Marcus Smart's not dumb. He knows give right back to Luka. He's going to get in his baseline. Defense is trying to force him baseline. He sees it. He tight rotes to the sideline, the baseline right there. 4 guys in the paint, knowing that they usually find shooters, but we got LeBron James out here, who's known not to be a spot-up shooter, but he catches on the go on the closeout. It's a bad closeout by defense, gets to the lane, gets an easy layup. Right here, Bron sets a high screen to get the switch so that Luka can get Franz on him, even though he's not a weak defender, but they know each other pretty well from playing in Europe. Gets by Franz Wagner right here, gets to his right hand, gets to the paint, sees the defense open up. DeAndre Ayton moves the baseline so the big can't step up, gets a nice little floater over the top, doing what he does. It's like 80% in the paint right there. Austin Reeves, left to right crossover, getting the defense shifted, draws 3, looks out, kind of pump fakes, takes his time, sees there's no perimeter or no rim protector, and Desmond Bane, he's a smaller guard, he can finish over the top. Defense kind of miscommunicated and tried to spread out here. Now this is the play of the night. Obviously, you got a lot of motion here. Austin Reeves, Luke Kennard switching, defense is switching. So when you move fast and act like you don't know what you're doing, the defense doesn't know what you're doing either. So right here, these 3 get kind of muck it up. Bron makes a hard cut, drags 2 defenders to the paint. They don't want to leave Luka. Luke Kennard ends up wide open. Like you said, Marcus Smart did a great job of taking his time, being patient, being poised, finding the shooter, and he shoots 50%, so you have a really good chance of knocking that down and going in. And Luka Dončić, I don't know if this is his first game winner of his life, but it's a big win to go 4-0 on the road.
Indeed. That's a great breakdown there. Way to get the show started, Danny.
Yeah.
Big game. I think the big thing here, too, just to follow up on that, is that when I said it was an interesting game, Lakers built that 14-point lead in the first quarter, yet they still trailed by 3 at the half. They built up a 7-8-point lead in the third, but then Orlando responds. But when you see that fourth quarter, when you see it down the stretch, the Lakers, more times than not this season, have been so good in the clutch.
Yes. Yes, they've been very good in the clutch. In the last 8 or 9 games, they've been very good overall with sustaining defense, playing as a team. They're connected. They believe in it. And you can see in games like this where almost at the end of the road trip, you could, start to flail a little bit if you've had some success. This is a good Orlando team, took them down to the stretch, but the Lakers continue to believe and execute it to perfection. Danny just showed in the 360 just how poised they were, using, 3 different people. Austin Reeves one time, LeBron, and of course Luka, that triple threat, and having a good supporting cast. They really have learned to believe and sustain. They've added on to that, being a clutch defensive team in the last 3 or 4 minutes. That's starting to be, 44 minutes, 42 minutes. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's against a really good Orlando team that's been playing well, too.
Yep.
So, that's a really big win. But if their biggest thing is just keeping it close. The fourth quarter has always played great. Yeah. If you just start out pretty well, because their starts are pretty tough in that third quarter, as long as they don't let that third quarter get bad, they have a really good chance of winning games. It
was a really big win for them when the biggest storyline probably coming out of that game was where we're going next. Luka Dončić picked up his 16th technical on Saturday, which would result in an automatic 1-game suspension. But good news from Shams on X, the NBA has rescinded Lakers star Luka Dončić's 16th technical foul, allowing him to play in Monday's road game against the Detroit Pistons, which is tonight. He was just named the Western Conference Player of the Week for the 2nd straight week, and rightfully so. It would be a shame, big game, to not see him play, especially when he's in such a good groove like he is.
Yeah, they got to move that up to 20. Give him a little more breathing room because for a rule like that, in my opinion, I know the NBA has to, curtail players and, keep that under control. But to me, this would be a waste if you have a player like Luka, in my opinion, any player, but this guy who's an MVP candidate, one of the most electrifying players, the fans would be very upset in Detroit if he didn't get to play tonight. They come out to see him. So I'm glad it got rescinded. I still want Luka to kind of take it easy because the rules are the rules, and you don't want to get that 16.
Keep dropping 60, you'll get everyone rescinded. He's dropping 30 to sleep, 60 when he's high.
I think the league said
the NBA is going to make some. They're going to give him some leeway.
I think the league said, wait a minute. Okay, let's rescind that.
Yeah. That's why I think he wasted no time in making sure everyone knew what he was responding to.
On the press conference, right away.
In the moment as well. All right, so Luka Dončić will play tonight. Let's take a look at the injury report as there are a couple Lakers who will not. Good news first, Maxi Kleber, he is available. He returns after missing a couple with that lumbar back strain. No Rui Hachimura and no Marcus Smart out with their respective injuries right there. And then, of course, for Detroit, you have no Cade Cunningham. He is out with that collapsed lung. So for more, we head out to Detroit. We check in with Lakers reporter Mike Trudell, who is first on the floor as always. Hello, Mike.
Hey guys, welcome to Michigan. So, Allie, for the most part on this trip, we haven't had to start the show with injury stuff. That has been terrific for the Lakers. But as you mentioned tonight, a couple of guys banged up and won't be able to go. So that is where we started with J.J. Redick, just to try and find out the severity of both of these injuries, if it's anything that will be an issue moving forward, or if they're day-to-day and maybe even have a chance to play in Indiana, which is the next game coming up on Wednesday. So here's J.J. on that, and then getting into the Pistons a little bit as well.
Rui, I guess, got hit at some point in the Miami game with his calf. And so it tightened up on him in the Orlando game. He left the bench at some point and, was back in the locker room for a while. And we ruled him out during the game and just got some tightness. The imaging was clean, so he's just kind of day-to-day. And then Smart, when when Goga fell on his leg. He got a bruised ankle, and then separate play landed and kind of awkwardly, and he's got some right hip tightness. So, he's probably in the same boat day to day.
JJ, you've talked a lot about wanting to be a connected team. We've seen a lot of examples of that during this recent streak. Independent of the results themselves, just what stands out to you about the way your players are staying connected at this point in the season, and how valuable is that as you guys go forward in some of these really close games you've been playing?
Yeah, one of the things that we talk about, it's a euphemism that I think a lot of coaches use, is bend but don't break. And I think earlier in the season we could bend once, but then we would break. We played these guys on Christmas Day. It was a 1-point game in the second half, and then we ended up getting our butts kicked. I think our resolve and resilience, and you need to be connected to do that as a team, not just individually. I think where we were earlier in the year, all of us, probably the coaching staff included, it was like, when things go bad, you revert back to your means of self-preservation, whatever that may look like for each individual. And I spoke about that one time. I know after one of our bad losses, we're bending multiple times in a game, and we're staying the course and trusting each other.
All right, there's J.J. Redick, guys. So, look, a big loss certainly for the Lakers, not just with Marcus Smart, but Rui Hachimura. We'll see who can step up in their absence. And then, Ali, as you covered, though, earlier, of course, the biggest news that Luka Dončić is able to continue his stretch. Now, in those 9 straight wins, he's scored at least 30 every time. That is an NBA record, and it just raises the Lakers' floor so much when you get that just locked in the way that he's been playing. So we'll see and assume that he can do it again here in Detroit.
I was going to say, maybe another 60 ball. No big deal. We appreciate it. Mike Trudell, we'll talk to you later in the show. Time for a quick break. Lakers sharpshooter Luke Kennard getting warmed up